Hi guys, it's Michele and today I'm gonna do something a lot tier reviews. At the moment we are currently still in tier 1 with my reviews and as you can see, I'm grinding my ass off. By the way, this today is gonna be the J1N1 heavy fighter, the first heavy fighter in Japanese tech tree. And let's see. This thing is actually very interesting, unlike other things in the tier 1. At first it has very good forward firing armament, but it has also very good defensive armament in the combination of very bad armor. Actually, any Japanese aircraft doesn't have any armor, so doesn't have self-sealing fueling tanks. One good incendiary round will definitely turn this thing into a blowtorch. And that's a big problem for this aircraft, because it shines in some aspects. Let me just show you. First we have forward armament with 2 machine guns and 1 cannon. 60 rounds for the cannon, 1200 for the gun. As you know, the defensive armaments at the moment in realistic battles are infinite, so every time you waste these 3000 shells, they reload after a couple of seconds. For this time, it's actually 15 seconds. And they are placed in the back. 2 machine guns over here, 2 over here, that means 4 machine guns, which pack definitely a very good firepower in the low tiers. So what you're actually having, it's a big problem if you're approaching this aircraft. First head on, I don't advise against any aircraft, because as you can see the silhouette is definitely small as you can have for any aircraft. Of course it's bigger than the biplane silhouette or the little monoplane in the reserve aircraft, but I don't recommend for you to go head on against this thing, because you're gonna lose. 20mm cannon will make sure of that. Unless you're quite lucky from the distance and snipe the pilot. So, I don't recommend for engaging this aircraft in sustained air combat on high altitude. Is very good turn time for it. This big huge aircraft, 23 seconds. Not as good as other Japanese aircraft, not as good, let's say, a Spitfire, but decent enough to make a problem for any other low tier energy fighter. Also, the rate of climb is 16 meters per second. And now we come to the infamous defensive armament. It can cover this area from the sides upwards. It can go all over here, sideways over here, and it cannot go below the tail. So keep in mind of this tail surfaces, because if you are below this thing, you are basically safe. So if you are in the silhouette somewhere around here, you're safe from these guns. But if this thing turns sideways or engages, you go into engagement against it above it, these 4 machine guns will tear you apart, especially in low tiers. Actually, this thing is very good as a bomber killer, believe it or not, because you have 2 options. First is your forward mounted guns with the 20mm cannon. If the bomber survives, you just position yourself away from its guns and point these 4 machine guns at it. And you're gonna pepper these rounds right into the enemy cockpit, which is pretty good, I must admit. So what you're gonna do with this thing, actually, once you research it, is first flight surfaces. It's a low level aircraft. By the way, I don't use bombs unless I'm in the arcade and I want to do some damage to the ground targets with these little firecrackers. And second thing that you want to research is actually your offensive and defensive turrets and belts. This is the situation where you're going to use, for me at least, using stealth ammunition is the best payoff. And for the turret, I was going with the APT, but I switched to armor targets because much more AP rounds are in this belt, while the tracer bullets are, let's say, useless. Stealth ammunition for the start. If you are bad with the shots, I suggest universal ammunition for both of these guns. Now, I don't want to bore you anymore either with talk in the garage. Let's jump into the battle so I can show you how this thing is loaded. As you can see, almost 2.5 kilometers up, I managed to get above my enemies and use my altitude to choose the engagement. The main thing is, once you start to choose your engagements, the best thing is actually to pick your targets. If you're above the enemy, be aware of some things like, is the enemy maneuverable, is it not, does it have defensive fire, and stuff like that. So first target is the Nimrod in front of us. That thing is pretty maneuverable, so you need to predict where the enemy is gonna go. And that's where most of the boom and zoomers actually fail. So I'm gonna turn this aircraft, use the heavy fuselage, and place my guns in front of it so I can do a snapshot and take one enemy biplane down. Now we have positioned us in very bad situation against enemy Buffalo, and this time Buffalo doesn't know I have 4 machine guns in my tail. All I need is to keep him a distance and spray at his direction. And with a little bit of aim, there is the first fire. Second burst, hits him again, hits one of my aircraft just a bit, but I'm still flying. So he's now panicking, he's spraying all over the place, and I need one good burst into him. Just one good burst into his engine, and over now. Yeah, there it is. That's an engine fire, and that's one enemy destroyed. Unlucky for us, this engagement took us away from the action, so we are pretty far away. And the enemy targets are appearing all over the place. So, the best thing we can do is actually go hunting. Now we are going back into the action. As you can see, the map is not much favorable for the British. Actually, I think they need a couple of more ground targets because this match ends pretty fast on this map. Especially if you are a Japanese bomber and focusing down on the ground targets. So we have an option. Shall we go for the Hurricanes? Shall we go in the pack? Shall we go in all of them? Actually, the best thing and best approach is choose your targets wisely. When the enemy starts to climb, they're gonna lose airspeed. Once they do that, they're actually pretty much easy target for you. You can pick them out. And with that thing, you can actually destroy one by one. I've seen a lot of guys that have made some amazing carries, but just by being above the enemy and dictating the pace of the engagement. Go down, kill one, go up, and do that again and again. So we are thinking of the Fury, but on my right side, I'm gonna check the cluster that is on the enemy side, basically the Hurricanes, which are my primary targets, and one of the enemy P-36s just started to peel off. And he's starting to climb, and as I said before, he's an easy target for us. So we're gonna switch out the engines to keep us below 560 so we don't rip our wings. Yes, in realistic you can easily rip the wings of this aircraft, and we're gonna aim at just a little bit in front of him and we can get an easy kill. As you can see, there is one P-36 less in the enemy team. So we are again having same problems. I'm thinking about going for the Hurricane, but this map is small and he's gonna actually run away from me. So I'm gonna turn around, get this thing around, and keep in mind this thing is maneuverable for a heavy fighter, not for a lightly armored monoplane fighter. So in category of the heavy fighters, you are actually good against another heavy fighter when it comes to maneuvering, but against the other fighters, regular fighters, this thing cannot turn. That's why I used at the start against the Buffalo, the machine guns on my back. So I'm gonna try to get the Hurricane, but we're gonna have some situation which is the AAA. Even if you are watching Terminator movies, and the Terminator and Skynet did had this kind of accuracy, I don't think we're gonna see any of the continuations, and the movie will be over in less than 2 minutes, let alone with 5 movies and a series. Yeah, these things are bloody accurate, and I'm gonna try to go for the enemy that's just survived. So that's one fighter that was smart and evaded me, and that's one Fury that's gonna live, but that bomber is not gonna live, and it's gonna be actually a good opportunity for me to test my tactic. First, cannon and machine guns as a forward firing system. As you can see, we are doing a lot of damage with our cannons, and now since we passed the machine guns, I'm gonna use the machine guns on my tail. Go in front of the enemy bomber, side on or back, and that's bomber without a tail. He went tailless. Okay, now that's another destroyed enemy. We are smoking a bit, but we can get to the base. So I'm turning to the base and actually gonna try to go for the hurricane to at least do some damage to it. And now our allies are doing the best to get him down. The HK is actually doing his best as well. Another J1N1 is going after Hurricane as well, so let's see how this is gonna end. Bomber is using his gunners to get the Hurricane down. Hurricane is returning fire, I think, but that's a Hurricane Mark 4. And our J1N1 goes in the kamikaze mode. And I just got hit pretty hard by the enemy AAA. It's parked nasty and I have both my engines destroyed, almost destroyed, and my tail control surfaces and ailerons, as you can see, are wobbling all over the place. And my aircraft seems like it just got drunk under a bottle of Scotch whiskey. Great. So, with the drunken aircraft that was devastated by the enemy AAA, I'm trying to land this aircraft, and as you can see, we already can see that on our airfield are some other airplanes that didn't went so good, and their wreckage is bouncing all over the place. Weird bug, right? And we're gonna try to land, but I noticed I'm going too fast and I'm going in an unwanted area and in an unwanted angle, and I want to avoid those stunts, and I'm just about to hit him, but nope, I'm gonna hit my right wing, peel it off, do a spin, and land on my belly. And this was soft landing, actually. Really, really. I think if Jingles could say this, it will call it a Jingles landing. So, you're gonna just sit here and repair. But the enemy lost all of its ground forces, and we are gonna win by the tickets alone. So yeah, this map is definitely favored to the Japanese side. If you are very careful and go for the ground targets, you can easily win against the British on this wing. For the Allies, this map is a nightmare, and we end up in the first place with 4 destroyed airplanes. And let's see what have we done. So, first in this match I managed to research almost all the stuff for my J1N1, and let's see how much of the cash we managed to earn on the regular account. 24,590 silver lions, which is very good. So J1N1, if you're wondering how to play this aircraft, this is how you play it. So this was all for today. Like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you all next time. See ya.